Yeah, buddy, you already know top of the top, and it won't what? And it won't stop, you dig? So look, as you enter different spaces, creative spaces, professional spaces and whatnot, make sure that you get credit for everything you do. Because I used to be the kind of person that I'm the kind of dude that my conversation is just game. I mean, not to brag, but anybody that know me, what come with it. So it's like, for me, I've always been a very resourceful person, and I've been very fortunate to retain a lot of information and have a lot of experience firsthand. But being the generous person that I am, I've always tend to give away a lot of free game, like I'm doing right now. What happens is there's some people that take advantage of you because of that. I give you a case in point. I've had people reach out to me, they say, hey man, I got this mixtape I'm working on, and I need to borrow this record or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I know you don't have it, no problem. But when the time came around, they credited everybody else and shouted them out, but I didn't see my name, not even a thank you. While another, a business associate and good friend, shouted me out on his mixtape, and I had no involvement in his mixtape. You know what I'm saying? So life is funny like that. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is I knew the other dude longer. Okay, give you another example. Had another cat reach out to me who always, trusted my ear and what have you, and he would always play me his music, and I always take a great honor in hearing people's new music before it drops. However, it was a thing where I felt as though he was picking my brain, because here we go again. During his album release, I never got a shout out. So I had a problem with that. You picking my brain, but everybody that you shouted out don't have half of the knowledge I got, or even an ounce of the game I got. And it is what it is, so I felt the way about it. And so my thing is, people get on these platforms and forget the people that gave them a chance, and I've always been the type of person where if I had the opportunity, I always reached back and make sure, like, hey, or acknowledge, shout out to Wu Wham, you know what I'm saying? And, and Bop Bop, whoever, that was instrumental in the project, whether I big them up in an interview or whatever. And I feel as a true professional, you always acknowledge the people that helped you along the way. Even if you fall out. Well, now I'll take that back. There's some people that don't need to get no plug from me. You know what I'm saying? You stepped in it and you're going to stay in it. It is what it is. But, but overall, even them, you know what I mean? If they had such, an instrumental, part in your career, give them a little, give them some crumbs, give them a little shout out or whatever, because they didn't have to give you the game that they had. Be professional about it. Even if you don't get along with that person, acknowledge them and give them, a little shout or a plug on your project or whatever, and or an interview. But keep your mouth shut. Basically, stop giving away your ideas, because what happens is people will run around and act like they came up with the concept, when they got it from you, but they'll never, acknowledge you and say, well, yeah, you know what? I got Mr. Unique was the one that put me up on, boom, boom, bomb. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was for him, you know what I'm saying? So while the other people, that are on code will do it in another way. They may not necessarily shout you out per se, but they say, hey, look, I got this project I'm working on and I want you to be a part of it or whatever. And put you up on some more game. There was another DJ that people would try to pit us against each other, right? And it was always funny. Man, I miss him a lot, but he's moved on in the spirit realm. But he was one of the dudes where we had so much in common. It was funny, and we all loved him. And he was the type of dude where everybody, you couldn't say no wrong about him. You couldn't do wrong about him. So fast forward, for me, it was like game recognized game when I met him. Despite what people were trying to do behind the scenes, it was like, look, I'm a grown man and you a grown man. What it do? You know what I'm saying? That's my get down. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what, somebody, hating on the sidelines. It's like, look, man to man, it is what it is. So fast forward, once we became acquainted, man, all it took was that the ego and the ice to break. He became one of my best friends. And at the time, he was working on a documentary, which you probably may end up seeing leaked somewhere. Who knows? I kind of know who has the original, but there were some heavy hitters in that documentary. And he called me. He says, hey, man, I want you to be in this documentary. I feel your voice is very important in terms of LA hip hop and so forth. So I said, say no more. And he was a neighbor, so he wasn't that far from me. So, I hopped over there and, we chopped it up in the documentary. You'll see it. It'll surface at some point. And you'll see all of us hanging out, talking over. But that's game right there. Yes, that's like boss business. That's how bosses operate. Not workers or bums, bosses. So bosses move a little bit different, a lot different, than regular dudes. A regular dude just won't give you the credit. And my man always made it a point to big me up whenever we were on the same stage, and I did the same thing for him. And that, in terms of the DJ world, that's pure respect. And we both came from the same cloth in a lot of ways, and as time went on, like that was my comrade, and I miss him a lot. And there were a few other artists that are in the spirit realm that move the same way. You know what I'm saying? Yo, come to the house. Wham. This is what I got going. I want you to hear it. And I would get something and say, hey, look, I want you to be a part of this project I'm working on. I got a budget. Any way that I could, but I felt safe around them in terms of giving my ideas because they had so much game already and they had it going on. So it was a mutual exchange. So when you do have those kind of conversations, make sure it's people that you have a mutual respect for and there's a mutual exchange. Because a lot of times, again, people who are good natured and that mean well, we tend to give up a lot of free game, and we give our experience and our knowledge to other people who are very ungrateful, and so my thing is nowadays I'm a lot more reserved. If you earn my time, you got lucky. You know what I'm saying? So and make sure you get credit in terms of any project that you're a part of. I'll give you another story. I had a project that I worked on with a lot of 5-star personalities that were on that project. I didn't know until after the fact, and it was a documentary. And so my buddy called me, says, hey man, I want you to be a part of this project. I think you'll appreciate it. And I was like, okay, what's the play? So he explained it to me. So I became part of basically the production. I lended my expertise and what have you to the project, and I was credited as associate producer. So with that, we didn't have a contract, we didn't have nothing, because we had numerous meetings about the documentary, and it was like, okay, cool, that mutual respect was there. Now bear in mind, I had never worked with him on a big project, and as time went on, basically, you know, he was just like, dogs, like, you know, he invited me to the premiere, to everything, every step of that project. And sure enough, he did credit me as an associate producer. So that's one of the projects I'm very proud of. And that's my homie, you know what I'm saying? So salute to him. And while on the other hand, you got people that will call you up and can't even put your name on a mixtape to shout you out. You know what I'm saying? And it was your records that you gave them, you know what I'm saying, to borrow. So it just goes to show you the type of people you have to be on the lookout for. And just, you know, keep your mouth shut. Don't be so quick to talk. Just let people earn their position with you. And then also, don't give away your ideas, because a lot of times your random conversation could be $1 million idea, and then somebody runs off with that idea. You tell somebody Goonie Goo Goo, they're gonna run out and say Goonie Goo Goo, and they're gonna act like they came up with it, you know, and they gonna leave you in the dust while they making millions. You know what I'm saying? Then you gonna look like a hater when you tell people you gave them the idea. It's like, nah, just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Until they write you a check and give you credit, you know, make sure you have some type of a written agreement. And like I said before, it's rare when you have written agreements. So in terms of like written agreement, an agreement where it's not even an agreement, it's their word. They'll tell you, hey, I'm gonna make sure you get credit, so you go on by their word. Those are very rare relationships. You know what I'm saying? Those are true friends. And very professional men of honor and women of honor that honor their word. If you can honor your word in this world, you'll go very far. All right. And on that note, I gotta go in a minute.